Hello everybody, good day or good afternoon or good night wherever you are. So you are all welcome to It's All About Love with Anna. For those who don't know me, now you know my name, Anna. So today you are going to be talking about Mother Teresa. It's going to be the 7th episode. So for those who didn't watch this episode, I would advise you, if you are interested, you go back and watch the previous episodes of Mother Teresa. Then you will know anything from her birth up until 1950s. So I think it'll be wonderful if you are interested in knowing more about Mother Teresa, because Mother Teresa is a legacy, is a wonderful example for us to follow. Of course, you are not going to follow all the same things that she did, because you are all individuals, you are all different. But we can meditate on what she did and follow some steps that she did. So it will be good. It will be good because everything she did was good, and everyone knows about it around the world nowadays. So today you are going to be talking, like I said, about her on the 7th episode, and you are going to be talking more specifically up from 1953. On the 6th episode, last time, I mentioned to you that Mother Teresa had a routine with her students and her sisters. They had moved to a bigger house, and they had a routine of doing their house chores and prayers and etc., and going outdoors as well with the rosary and to pray. It was always an advice that Mother Teresa asked them to go in the streets, or while they were in the streets, always with the rosary and praying. So, but during the day, Mother Teresa worked very, very hard. She developed a talent for begging. Interesting, isn't it? And she would always arrange time to teach the sisters. So the interest and the talent for begging, for me it is not a surprise, because she loved so much the poor, and she loved so much God and people that didn't mind. She'd do anything to support the people who were in need. And so for her, begging was normal, was like an obligation, not an obligation in a bad sense, but in a good sense, to support the poor of the poor. That's incredible. And if she used to work hard, like I said, but if her novices, her students, didn't do their job, or didn't do the job properly, Mother Teresa would go and do the things for them. She was always doing things, helping people outside and at home, doing what she had to do, always helping the sisters, the novices, always busy. So I know probably I'll repeat this in the future, but one of the things that struck me, it was when I heard that Mother Teresa would go and do anything for the girls if they didn't do. For example, very, very touching, it was when the girls were not able or were unable to clean the toilets. And well, some people are okay with that, but some people don't feel okay and don't feel comfortable in cleaning toilets. And so Mother Teresa, if they didn't clean, she would go and clean for them. So that was incredible to me. And so she worked late into night, and she was the first to be in the chapel for morning mass. See? She was always working from morning till night, till late in the night, and she was always the first in the morning mass. And so for those who know, and I already mentioned it, normally they would get up at 4:40 in the morning, early in the morning. And so they would wash themselves and eat something and go into mass as well. So and at 7:45 they would be in the streets helping the poorest of the poor. So she was very busy, and I don't think she slept very much, because she went to bed 12 in the night. Then probably she would sleep maybe 2 or 3 or 4 hours maximum. But she was used to it. For her, it was natural, and it was a comfortable life, not sleeping much. For her, the most important thing is to always wait for people and for God. What she used to do as well, it was at Christmas. It was interesting because at Christmas, Mother Teresa would always do something for the girls and for people. With girls, they always had a party. And they would decorate the refectory, and Mother Teresa would give to each one a small gift. Would be a pencil, generally would be a pencil, a cloth, or a peg. Some few things. For not the important thing here. It was the gift, not probably the money, or if it was expensive or not. It was just the intention that if she was giving something to them, it was the main thing here, the intention. The pencil, she would give the pencil, the cloth, a bag, a soap, and a beautiful written card with her beautiful words, with Mother Teresa's beautiful words. It was beautiful. It was a very gentle and nice gift to give to her novices, to her students. So nothing appeared to frighten Mother Teresa, nothing, because she was so, for everyone, she was so strong. And those around would say that she had a fire in her. She was full of fire. She was convinced that just God's strength would help her to do anything. Just God's strength would help her to do anything. Without it, she would do nothing. So for those who watch the previous episodes, and for those who know Mother Teresa's story, before she went to the slums to help the poor, she had a time of interaction with Jesus. It was in 1946, end of 1946, beginning of 1947, while she was waiting for authorization from the Roman Vatican and from the Archbishop area. She had to meditate about what she was going to do in the future, and what God had told her to do, what Jesus had told her to do. And so she had a period of intense meditation interaction with Jesus. So Jesus would speak to her about what he wanted her to do in a new life, out and about in the slums and helping the poor of the poor. And Jesus would give her as well some visions, and he gave her some visions. So at that period, Mother Teresa spoke to Jesus and said that she felt weak to go out to help the poor of the poor. She felt that maybe he could find someone stronger than her. But Jesus told her that he wanted her to do not others, and he was going to be with her. So from those words were so powerful that convinced Mother Teresa that then after that she could go freely and full of strength and courage, because she knew that God or Jesus was going to be with her to support her to help the poor of the poor. She didn't need to be afraid of anything, because he was going to be with her always. So she knew that the strength that she had, it was not her strength, but God inside her, Jesus inside her, guiding her and giving her strength and light and love and everything. So, and she knew that without it, without God, without Jesus, she couldn't do anything. but she was doing because of him. Wonderful, beautiful. And I know many of you go through this. Those who believe in God, or you have a relationship with God or Jesus, well, you know that you feel more powerful, you feel braver than when you are with God, than if you don't have God in you, or if you don't pay attention to God. For example, I've heard many people say, look, I need to pray, because if I don't pray, I feel weak. So I have to, it's like saying, look, I have to be connected with God every day, because if I'm not connected, then I'm not myself. I'm just weak. I can't do anything. And this is what happened to Mother Teresa, because you are all humans. Mother Teresa was a beautiful human being, and you are all human beings and beautiful human beings too, in different ways, but you are. So we all go through similar things in life. And so after that, as mountains of work were waiting for Mother Teresa and the girls, they could not wait for money, because if they had so much work to do to help the poor of the poor, of course they didn't have the money that they needed to support them. And so they had to start they had to do things without money. And but Mother Teresa always trusted in divine providence. She always knew that if they didn't have money, God would send someone to support them, to help them. And that it was true. And so Mother Teresa would say, well, very often she would say, God will never let us down. God will never let us down. You know, the Mother Teresa was always praying, was always connected in a relationship with God and Jesus, and she knew what she was talking about. Of course, through her life, she had periods of weaknesses, and she said that, and she wrote that. But above all, she had faith. She had a wonderful and beautiful faith. She had always a connection with God and Jesus. That's why she had always wise words to say. Like this one, God will never let us down. Wonderful. For instance, for example, in the early days, the small congregation, which means that Mother included Mother Teresa and the girls or the novices, had nothing to eat. You know, it was that period that they were begging door by door. And suddenly a woman came came with some bags of rice. So one day they didn't have anything to eat. They were hungry. They really needed to eat. And someone appeared with rice, bags of rice. And a woman told them that she had an inexplicable desire to take the rice and give to them. Beautiful. And you know, many of you, if you are listening to this program now, you know that sometimes when you feel an inexplicable desire, and if you believe in God, sometimes can be God guiding you and asking you to do something. Yes, I would say the majority of time, not all the time. You know that. And so that woman felt a strong desire to take the rice to the Mother Teresa and to the girls, because you know, for those who believe in this Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God, you know that when you believe and you are connected with God, we know that the Holy Spirit lives inside us, and He can tell us things, He can guide us. And so it was what he did to this lady. Sometimes they don't need to be Christians or anything. They can be people who are not believers. But God uses people, even if they are not believers, to help others. And so this woman gave them the rice. And another occasion is so many examples, but I'm just giving you a few examples for you. And so another occasion, the girls in Mother Teresa needed a mattress for a novice who had just arrived. But Mother Teresa offered us a mattress to the girl, and she didn't mind to sleep on the floor. See the beautiful heart of Mother Teresa, beautiful. She didn't mind. They didn't have sofas. They didn't have, later yes, but at the beginning they didn't. They didn't have any, they did just have a bench, a mattress. They didn't have anything to sleep. They didn't have comfortable things. Because they made sure to live like the poor. You know that. I mentioned it to you in the previous episodes. So, and she didn't mind to sleep on the floor to give the mattress to the novice who was arriving. And so, but the sisters, when she offered a mattress to the girl, the sisters refused it. And so, as they were trying to solve the problem, to find a mattress to the girl, to the novice, an Englishman arrived and knocked at their door and gave them a mattress. What an incredible thing. What do you think about this? What do you think? So, you know that if you believe in God, you know that God knows everything, knows what's going on our minds, and uses people at the right time to be useful to another person. And you may say, well, not always. Yes, not always. But in many occasions, it's like that. He works like this. So uses someone, an Englishman, he touched his heart, his mind, to get his mattress or an extra mattress that probably he had at home and to take to the girls and Mother Teresa. He didn't know that they were in need. He didn't. But the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God, touched his heart, his mind, and then he acted on it. He went. I believe that the Spirit, when he touched this man, it was so strong, so convincing, that he had no doubts that he had to go and give the mattress. And so he acted on it. He went to give the mattress to the girls. Probably was a Christian, probably not. Probably he had another faith, a different faith. And God used him to help these ladies. That's why Mother Teresa always trusted on divine providence. Even if she didn't have, or they didn't have, she knew that God was going to use someone to give them what they needed. Wonderful, beautiful, wonderful. I love it. I love it. I hope you are loving this too, because it's incredible. The stories, beautiful stories, and exemplary stories to everyone to hear. Wonderful. So, the Englishmen solved their problem. Now, let's go to the children. You know that if you know the previous episodes, if you know Mother Teresa's story, she started when she started a new life, like the life that God asked her to do, going to have the poor of the poor in 1940s, at the end of 1940s. She began by what she did first. She began by going to the slums and helping the children. Remember? So the children came, and they were so many, and day after day they were increasing in number, the children, and she was teaching them literacy and so on. They didn't have any boards, but she was writing on the floor with a stick. And so then she started teaching them also hygiene as well, and so on, so many things. And the work with children had started in slums, it started specifically in the hearts of Montejo. And this work was also growing with children. Mother Teresa and the girls and volunteers. You remember that volunteers were already by 1950s. Volunteers was already mounting, helping the Mother Teresa and the girls, missionaries of charity, I would say. And so this work with children was growing and growing and growing. And a child to them was as they were seeing Jesus as an infant. So when they looked at a child, although they would see features and characters and personalities, different personalities and features and characters, they would see the main thing. They would see Jesus in them. Always imagine Jesus in them. Physically and psychologically and spiritually, always. And that was beautiful, because that's why instead of concentrated in the child himself or herself, they concentrated in the child, but mainly in Jesus inside the child. That's why their focus was so strong. Their need to help the children was so strong, because they were seeing above all Jesus in the children. Because as they were helping the children, they were helping Jesus. They were doing something for Jesus. That's incredible, beautiful. So every day, Mother Teresa and the girls, missionaries, and even the volunteers, they would find the children in places such as dustbins, in streets and railway platforms, and they would bring them to their centers, to their hearts, to their places. These children were orphans mainly. They were unwanted. They were sick, incapacitated. Many had mental problems. And so many anomalies that these children were, and some of them, they were on their own. I mean, of course they were on their own in the streets. They didn't have adults around them, otherwise they wouldn't see them there, and they would not bring them home with them. So they all were dying in the streets. They all were dying in the streets. Some of them were born into married women and married women, mothers, and so who were not allowed to have them because they were single. And others, their mothers had died at newborn age. Remember that last time, in the previous episodes, I spoke to you about that Mother Teresa inaugurated a place, a house, for people who were dying in the streets, for people who didn't have any place to go, and they would go to that place. Remember when I spoke about the place next to Kalindu, the place where the Hindus commemorated and prayed for their gods. So many mothers died there. They were single mothers, they didn't have any family around, they didn't have financial means to help themselves, so they were sick, and they couldn't go to the hospitals, because the hospitals in India at that time didn't accept anyone who didn't have money to pay the expenses in the hospital. So these poor people, they would go there, and Mother Teresa inaugurated that place, wonderful, with the help of the government and the Muslims that gave that place to them. If you go back to this previous episodes, you'll see that I mention it, and it is very clear. So many women died there, many mothers died there, and left their kids in the streets on their own. So many were suffering, mainly the children mainly were suffering from malnutrition and tuberculosis. You know, those days tuberculosis was one of the main diseases in the area, in many parts of the world. And so they were dying that, and even they were dying as well of malnutrition, because they didn't have food to eat. They didn't, or maybe if they found food, it was probably from the beans, and they didn't have the good nutrients to help them to survive. And so instead of helping, they could cause bad bacteria or bad germs in their bodies that would cause inflammation, infections, and all the diseases, and would die ultimately. But Mother Teresa and the sisters nourished these boys, these children and girls with their light, care, love, food. They would take all of them and they would nourish them. That's beautiful. So Mother Teresa was now being recognized by the official authorities. The government house was open for her always because she was getting so popular. Everyone would see her as someone sent by God. Or everyone the majority of people, because you know that Mother Teresa also had some critics. So, and the chief minister trusted her fully. The chief minister from the government house trusted Mother Teresa fully. And in 1955, the government offered her a home for children. For children, you know, previously, they would take them to their homes, to their huts. But in 1955, the government offered her a home for the children. A two-story building with a large patio very close to the Missionaries of Charity residence. Incredible, beautiful. Because if they needed, the children needed something urgently, and the girls wanted to rest on Mother Teresa, they could be in the residence but go straight to the children's house. But of course, the children were not left alone. They would have always people there, volunteers or Mother Teresa or the girls always helping the children. Mother Teresa named the children's house Sishu Bhavan. Apologies if I'm not spelling or this properly, this word, but I'll say it and repeat. Sishu Bhavan. It was the new name for the house, the house for children in 1955. So in that same year, there were already 48 missionary sisters of charity in 1955, and 48 sick and suffering volunteers prepared to offer their brains for a second half. Remember in the previous episode I mentioned that Jacqueline Decker, a Belgian lady, she was doing more or less the same job as Mother Teresa. She came before Mother Teresa to India, or she went to India before Mother Teresa, and she was helping the poor of the poor. And then Mother Teresa they met each other, Mother Teresa and Jacqueline Decker, and they became friends. But after a few years, Jacqueline Decker fell sick, and she had to return to Belgium. And then she wanted to do something to help. And Mother Teresa suggested that she could go back to Belgium, but she could do something very strong for the girls and for everyone. She would pray for them. It was kind of a job for her to do, and so more people came, offered themselves as volunteer sick people to help, to pray for the girls. So there were 48 missionary sisters of charity and 48 sick and suffering volunteers prepared to offer their pains for the second half. That was in 1955. Wonderful. The Jacqueline Decker and the other people, sick ladies, suffered and prayed, and the missionaries of charity had to work, had to go around and help the poor of the poor. As a result, the sisters and brothers to whom they were linked found new strength and companionship in the knowledge that someone was praying for them. That's beautiful. And missionaries were the feet, and the suffering ladies or suffering workers were the heart. Well, it makes sense, isn't it? So the missionaries of charity were the feet because they were the ones who were walking. They were walking all the time, walking and walking all the time. And the suffering workers were giving their heart, were giving their love, their prayers, their thoughts, their everything, always praying for them, having always someone in the spirit and praying for them. that was beautiful. So, to Mother Teresa, suffering was an essential part of a Christian way. Yes, some people criticized Mother Teresa for that, but Mother Teresa believed that suffering was an essential part of the Christian way. The following of Christ is inseparable from the cross of the Calvary, because you know that Mother Teresa associated the suffering with the Christ suffering in the cross, because Jesus Christ really suffered in the cross, and this is what many people in this world suffer, because we all go through suffering in life, some more than others, and sometimes in a phase or another people suffer. And so Mother Teresa associated people suffering in this world with the cross of Jesus Christ. She insisted that the joy was a gift to give to the suffering world. Of course, she believed that she used to say that suffering was an essential part of the Christian way because of the cross, Jesus Christ's suffering. But at the same time, she knew that people, Mother Teresa and the girls, had to have always their hearts full of joy and happiness, because if they had joy in their hearts to show and give to the world would be better. And she wouldn't accept anyone who was miserable or arrogant. Everyone that approached Mother Teresa, and the girls mainly, had to be loving people, nice people, understandable, full of mercy for others, compassionate, always. And so that was the principles that Mother Teresa would say to everyone, mainly to the novices, to the girls. And so people who were suffering had a need to find a meaning to their existence, and they were being given a sense of purpose. Yes. So these are more specifically for those who are suffering and praying for the missionaries of charity and others. So as they were praying for the suffering, the missionaries of charity, it was good for them to know that they had a purpose in this life, praying for the other, improving other people's lives as well. And at the same time, God was blessing them, the ones who were suffering. Probably many became better as well physically, because God works like that sometimes, isn't it? For many, you know that. So that's beautiful. That's incredible. That's wonderful. This is what I think. And I'm sure that many of you agree with me, because this is always humanitarian love. This is always the best thing that you can have love around, and good principles always to help others, to be around others, because we attract people if you are good, isn't it? If you are happy. Of course, if you are sick, if you are in need, it's always good to have someone happy and good and nice to help, because if there is someone with a hard heart, with arrogance, with people with no compassion, then life and world would never improve and grow, and happiness and health would go down. So God knows everything, and Mother Teresa knew many things, because God was revealing her wisdom too. Apart from bravery, power, strength, love, joy, peace that she was transmitting to everyone, she was always as well transmitting wisdom. She knew these principles. So I hope we are ending now the episode 7, and I hope you took something from here today, at least a word, because I tend to say that even if I know a lot about a subject, I want to know more and more, because I never know everything. We never know everything. We're always learning about something, even if you know already something, isn't it? So, like I said, and I repeat, I hope you took something from here, this episode today about Mother Theresa. And so, in the next episode, we are going to continue talking about her incredible life, her legacy. Beautiful. Thank you for listening to this program. Thank you, and have a lovely rest of the day or night.